you need to step away at some point. If you've got any question, you can use the chat, or you can also unmute yourself and ask directly. We want it to be quite interactive, so feel free to do that. And otherwise, Gabi, I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here today. So I'm Gabi. I'm a human design reader, astrologer, and yoga teacher. And have a real passion for helping people facilitate a better understanding of themselves. I try to offer a sanctuary for rest and relaxation with my yoga, and self-actualization with my human design and astrology. Yeah, so I'm very excited to be here. Today we'll be talking about human design. So hopefully everyone has their chart. Thank you so much for generating that before we got here. So let's dive in. What is human design? You probably heard of human design when you generated your chart. You were probably like, what is this? What is this strange chart? It doesn't really tell you much about it. So basically, human design is an incredibly specific way to learn more about your personality, your emotions, and how you interact with the world and those in it. So knowing your aura type, your strategy, and your authority will give you the best tools to make aligned decisions and to really tap into your intuition. The human design system, like astrology, is based on your exact time, date, and place of birth. And it basically just provides you with your energetic blueprint, your unique blueprint that the universe gave you the minute you were created. So it's essentially a mix of astrology, the chakra system, which we know from yoga, the gene keys, the Kabbalah, I Ching, and quantum mechanics. So there's a lot going on in your chart. And thankfully, the human design language makes it a lot easier to understand. It was actually developed quite recently compared to some of the other modalities out there. This guy, Ra-Uruhu, not his real name, but the name he went by in his human design world, received an incredibly detailed intuitive download in the 80s. He felt that it was his reason to be here to teach as many people as possible, to help humanity illuminate parts of themselves and others that they didn't understand, and help people prepare for a collective shift that he predicted would happen in 2020. And boy, did it happen. We all know what 2020 was like. He also talks about 2027 as being a time of great change as well, and using this human design knowledge to just help us navigate the world and ourselves better. And we might start seeing some slightly different human design charts pop up with the babies that are born from 2027 onwards. So grab your chart if you don't have it already. In your chart, the best place to start is with your aura type, then your strategy, and then your authority. So I've got my chart here, so you can have a look. You can see at the top left, you've got your type, your aura type. Then down below, you've got your strategy. And then over to the right, you've got your inner authority. So just locating those on your chart. Remember what they are as we move through this presentation. So basically, there are 5 aura types or human design types. They are generator, manifesting generator, which sometimes you'll see manifesting generators in the same category as generators. They share a lot of similarities, but there's also distinct differences, so I like to categorize them separately. Then we have projectors, manifestors, and reflectors. So generators, they make up about 70% of the population. It's the most common human design type, which doesn't mean it's not special. Every type is special. Every chart is so unique. So I just wanted to get an idea of how many generators are here today. feel free to pop that in the chat box. Feel free to raise your hand. Pauline, if you could tell me a rough number, that would be great, because I've lost the ability to see all the participants.
So I think I saw 3 people raise their hand plus 2 in the chat. So at least 5.
Yeah, awesome. Welcome, generators. So basically, generators, you have a warm and inviting aura that really magnetizes others towards you. You're kind of like the reliable engines of society, and are run by the things in life that really light you up. You thrive when you have the space to work steadily and consistently and to really feed your inner fire. So the phrase slow and steady wins the race is very applicable for you. Each type has a signature theme or feeling. So for a generator, that feeling is satisfaction. And this is felt when a generator is on the right path. You also have a not self theme. And for generators, that's frustration. So you might feel frustrated when maybe you're feeling like you're not quite on the right path and your strategy and authority aren't being utilized. And we'll tap into our strategy and authority shortly so you understand what that means. Then we move to manifesting generators. So if everyone could raise a hand, put in the comment box.
I can see 3 in the comments, 3 manifesting generator.
Awesome. I'm also a manifesting generator, so hello. Manifesting generators, or MGs, are multi-passionate individuals who are fueled by an inner fire, similar to generators, driven by the things that excite and inspire them. The difference is the multi-passionate nature. So yeah, we share a lot of the same energy with the generators, but the MGs experience bursts of energy that allow them to accomplish massive amounts in short times. It means juggling multiple projects, having multiple passions, moving quickly until you probably hit a natural lull before the next wave of inspiration hits. And this fluctuation in energy can sometimes cause manifesting generators to feel like maybe they're letting themselves or others down, especially when you change your mind or feel inconsistent with commitments. So it's just reminding yourself that it's okay to change direction. That is very much the energy of your type. And by honoring that and following your inner response and focusing on what truly lights you up, then you create that aura that is warm, inviting, magnetic. And then people are naturally drawn to that. They're drawn to that energy. So when you're aligned with your passions, then you'll in turn be able to inspire and uplift others just simply by being yourselves. So it's really powerful. And MG's signature theme or feeling is satisfaction, just like a generator. The not self is frustration, just like a generator. And we have projectors. Projectors, you make up about 20% of the population. If you want to raise your hand or put it in the chat if you're a projector.
I don't think we've got any.
Oh, none here live. Okay, that's fine. You'll definitely know projectors in your life, whether you know that they're a projector or not. Maybe learning about some of the traits of a projector will help you kind of identify those people in your life. Maybe, oh yeah, I think my mum might be a projector because she does X, Y, Z. So projectors are really uniquely gifted at reading people and situations. And they're able to offer really deep insights and solutions that others might miss. They have the exceptional ability to recognize others, to truly see them for who they are. And this makes people feel deeply understood, which, as I'm sure we all know, is a profoundly beautiful experience. A projector's approach to work is very distinct. They don't thrive on long hours or pushing through exhaustion. Instead, they excel when they focus their energy on tasks for a few hours at a time, rather than grinding away all day consistently. Like perhaps a generator might thrive in that environment, a projector might not. So it's really important to rest, to remain productive and inspired. And that helps expand their aura and really recharge their energy. So it's about finding a balance Maybe when you know this about yourself, you're able to slightly adjust your lifestyle to align with your natural rhythm. Maybe you honor your natural rhythm more rather than overriding it and telling you should be like someone else. So yeah, being mindful for your need to rest whilst remaining productive and lit up. So finding that balance that feels right for you. Doesn't mean you have to rest all day, every day to see what feels good for you. So a projector's signature theme feeling is success. That's felt when you're on the right path. The not self theme is bitterness. So that might be felt when you're not quite on the right path. Then we have manifestors. Feel free to raise a hand, pop it in the chat if you're a manifestor.
Yeah, we have 2 manifestors, Mel and Karen.
Nice. You make up 9% of the population. We're getting to the slightly rarer types now. So you're uniquely powerful in your ability to manifest what you want and what you need. Unlike the other aura types, you don't really need to wait for signs from the universe. You as the manifestor are the sign. So your inner power allows you to envision and bring things into being, which makes you, highly effective at manifesting what you desire. Your aura is the only aura type that doesn't merge with others. So you're here to be an impactor, not a merger. And that means, you don't need to blend your energy with others in order to thrive. The leadership and rulership can often come naturally to a manifestor. You're designed to initiate action and make a really lasting impact. So perhaps the Nike slogan, just do it, would be a good phrase for a manifestor. Manifestors also find ease in solitude, where you can nurture your peace and your clarity, and that helps you manifest your desires. And you're clear on what it is that you want, and you're kind of removed from others' energy. People who are manifestors often find that other people try to control them. They might feel threatened. They'll be kind of powerful, self-contained energy. So just being mindful of that. Manifestors also have the beautiful ability to glimpse kind of into the future and see, where humanity is headed, to come up with new ideas. So often you might feel like people take a while to catch up. You might just be waiting, hurry up, why don't you understand this yet? Your signature theme or feeling is peace. Your not self theme is anger. Then we have reflectors, the rarest of all human design types, 1% of the population. Any chance are there any reflectors here today? And if you're watching the recording and you're a reflector, feel free to send me an email. It's always wonderful to know who the reflectors are. Anyone?
No, we don't have any.
None?
No.
That's fair enough. So if you're a reflector, your role in the world is to sample, reflect, and judge the quality of the environments around you. You help to identify what needs to be changed for the betterment of Earth and society. You have the unique ability to sense and feel the physical, psychic, or emotional health of a community, group, environment, offering insights into what might need healing or what might need adjusting. Reflectors are highly attuned to the cosmic environment and are guided by the 28-day lunar cycle, which makes you a lunar being. Reflectors are designed to bring harmony wherever they go, have a deep desire for peace and for balance. They're incredibly resilient, but can also be influenced by the transitions of planets, which move through the chart every month, so that will affect energy. You might notice these natural fluctuations of energy, based on what's happening with the lunar cycle, what's happening in the environment around you. So yeah, sometimes perhaps that feels a little different, a little strange or confusing. So having that awareness of following the lunar cycles can make a really big difference. So it's really essential for a reflector to take their time while they make decisions. Often they need to sit with that decision, that choice, for an entire lunar cycle of 28 days before they feel ready to commit. And due to the openness in their chart, which basically means none of the shapes or the centers in the chart are coloured in, completely white, completely open. They easily take on conditioning of those around them. So that can make them really highly empathetic and sensitive, but it can also make it hard to, be with people who aren't aligned with them, taking on that kind of energy and needing to process and let that go. They also have a sense of who is living authentically, who is operating from a place of conditioning from the outside world or in a victim mentality. Because of this, being surrounded by the right people is really crucial for reflectors. So they thrive when they curate their lives by really intentionally choosing the people, places, and environments that align with their true nature. The signature theme is surprise, and the not self theme is disappointment. They're a little bit different to the other. Anyone have any questions about the human design aura types? So that's really head on to strategy.
Just a question, I guess, for me, like knowing what you are, like how can you use that, or is there, anything that you can, any insights or anything that you can adapt or change in your life based on, those types?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say the biggest thing I feel is helpful for knowing your aura type is how you best use your energy, how you best move through the world. So knowing that as a generator, you might thrive with consistency, maybe working for 9 to 5, maybe that feels nice for you. Whereas for a manifesting generator, they might like to work all day and all night one day and then completely zonk out the next day and just rest and sleep. A projector, might feel better with their energy if they're just putting in a couple of hours of work and then they're taking time to rest, whether it's just doing the things that light them up or whether it's like sleeping, reading. Manifestors, knowing that they can manifest and become clear on what their intentions and desires are, can be really helpful just to not need permission from anyone else. Manifestors, you probably know what you truly feel, think, and believe. So kind of, knowing that you have permission to do that and to kind of shut out other people if they're kind of bringing you down or they don't align with you. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. And there was also a question from Jessica asking what type was the creator of human design, if you know.
Oh, that's a great question. I do remember reading that somewhere, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm sure if you Google it, it will come up somewhere. Jovian Archive is like the official website of Ra Uruhu and his team, so I'm sure it's there somewhere. I'll have to look that up and get back to you all. All right, let's move on to strategy. So the next piece of the puzzle is your strategy, and that refers to how you engage with the world around you and how you channel your energy. So there's 4 strategy types. There is to respond, there's wait for the invitation, there's to inform, and there's wait for lunar cycle. You can probably guess who has that strategy. So we'll start with to respond. So that is a generator or a manifesting generator strategy. We all have the same one. And that speaks to the act of responding to life and all that it offers. So basically, when you're a generator or an MG, you're subconsciously or consciously responding to life all day, constantly, every day. It might be what food you're eating, what clothes you're wearing. It's about a response in the body, a feeling in the body, a really visceral yes or no. Sometimes maybe that feels like we don't know what we want. Human design kind of tells us that our body does know. So we've just got to kind of move away from the mind down into the body and see what's coming through for us. So, for example, yes might come through as a laugh, a clap of the hands, eyes widening, positive vocal exclamation or feeling of light and expansion, whatever it is for you. A no might be expressed as a shudder, like a negative vocal exclamation, or a feeling of contraction, or whatever else a no feels like in your body. So just seeing if you can pay attention when you're moving throughout your day, when you're wondering what to wear, when you're wondering what to pick off a menu to eat for dinner, when you're invited to see a friend, when you're offered something at work, just see what that response is in your body. Then we have wait for the invitation, and that is a projector's strategy. So they're meant to feel seen and recognized. And when this recognition comes, then the projector will feel it really deeply to the core of their being. So the most aligned opportunities will arise for them when they wait to be invited to something, and then use their inner authority, which we'll get to in a second, to determine whether that invitation feels right or not. Sadly, the invitation might not always be obvious. They can come in many forms. So it might be a very traditional invitation. It might come in the form of body language, a subtle gesture, or someone asking a question that taps into their expertise or insight. Just seeing what the invitations are that show up in your life. So the words and insights of a projector are highly valuable. And when received by an open and ready person, it can create a deeply fulfilling experience for both parties. However, when someone isn't receptive or doesn't seem ready, then it can feel really draining for the projector and leave them with a sense of bitterness. So that's our not self theme for a projector. So we don't want to be feeling that bitterness. Obviously, we're human and we will feel negative emotions, but that's just a sign that, okay, maybe that person I was talking to and sharing my insights with wasn't receptive, wasn't ready. I'll find someone else who is. So it's important also for projectors to be mindful of not offering unsolicited advice, otherwise that bitterness feeling might arise. So by waiting for an invitation, then you can really ensure that your energy is being directed towards people who are really ready to receive and really appreciate your wisdom, so that you can feel really heard and seen and understood. And that makes the exchange so much more powerful and meaningful. Then we have to inform, and that is the manifestor's strategy. So that's all about communication. It's really essential for a manifestor to inform others about the decisions that they've made, either before taking action or while they're still in the process of considering it. This also applies if you decide not to follow through on something. Just letting others know helps clear the air, it helps maintain smooth interactions. It's not about asking for permission or approval. It's just simply sharing with those around you what they're doing, what you're doing, and that allows for more ease for you and for those around you. So for example, I've had a boss in the past that is a manifestor, and when they made changes within the team or the business without telling anyone, it would cause a bit of an upset. Everyone would be like, why is this happening? What's happening? What's going on? But when they informed everyone of what was happening, what they were thinking of, and what they decided not to do, it made the whole thing a lot smoother. And then you've got wait the lunar cycle. So you probably guessed it, that's a reflective strategy. Again, it's similar to the energy of their aura type. Decision making is best guided by the rhythms of the moon, 28-day lunar cycle, rather than a fixed internal sense of yes or no like the other types might have. This approach doesn't offer direct or reliable internal compass. Instead, it aligns with the natural ebb and flow of the moon's phases. So the cycle begins when the offer or invitation comes your way, rather than you initiating that action by yourself. And then as the days pass and the cycle unfolds, then hopefully clarity emerges without forcing a decision. And throughout this lunar rhythm, it's really important to take time, allow the truth to reveal itself organically. Maybe that even happens through conversations with other people. The intention is not to seek guidance on what to do, but rather to articulate your own emerging thoughts. And then at some point in the cycle, the answer will often really suddenly arise, and you'll feel that deep internal knowing. However, there might be times where clarity doesn't fully emerge by the end of the cycle. And in this case, it's wise to give yourself more time, maybe another lunar cycle, trusting that that reflection will bring the deeper understanding that you need. And now we move on to authority. Were there any questions about strategy before we move on there?
I think we're okay.
So you probably heard me mention authority a couple of times, so this will help make sense of that. And we can see how we can tie these three things together. So authority is all about how your body guides you to determine whether a decision is right or wrong for you. So we have 7 authority types. We've got sacral, emotional, environmental, or also known as mental, self-projected, ego, lunar, and splenic. So we'll begin with sacral. Hands up or pop in the chat if you have sacral authority.
Yeah, we have quite a few, like 3.
Yeah. It's quite common.
Is that a common one? Yeah,
Yeah. I also have a sacral authority. So the sacral authority is depicted down the bottom. It's where the sacral chakra would be in yoga. You might be familiar with that, the lower belly. And it basically has a visceral feeling in the body, potentially in the lower belly where the chakra is, and that helps offer guidance when you're making a decision. So, I mean, all of human design really is just the process of moving away from the mind and down into the body. So the advice for a sacral would be trust your gut. We've all heard that saying, but it doesn't actually apply for all of us, only people with a sacral authority. So if your body says yes, or if it says no, that's really to be listened to. For sacral beings, it's most likely an instantaneous knowing or feeling that something is right or wrong for you. It might be a shrinking, contracting feeling when it's a no, an expansive feeling when it's a yes, kind of similar to the feeling of how it feels to respond. And we've got the emotional authority. Hands up or in the chat who has emotional. It's actually quite common in the population.
We've got 2 people.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, Karen and Erin.
Nice. So people with an emotional authority are deeply connected to their emotional and their nervous systems. And their process involves riding out an emotional wave before arriving at clarity. So the emotions, both highs and lows, can arise intensely and persist for minutes, hours, days, just depends. Your emotional wave can be incredibly powerful, and it shapes how you feel, but also how you express your emotions. We obviously all have emotions, but this emotional authority is just, specific to particular people and acts in a slightly different way. So perhaps think of how artists like, I don't know, Adele move with raw emotion in their music. Songs make people feel deeply, make people cry. So much of this in the same way, people with this emotional approach can have a profound impact on those around them, drawing people in with their warmth, their emotional depth. And when it comes to making decisions, it's important for them to wait for a sense of calm before choosing a course of action. The emotional clarity often takes time to emerge, so it's really essential to resist making choices during moments of intense highs or intense lows. The advice for emotional authority is sleep on it. Because what might feel like a good idea right now might not turn out to be so great after a little time to reflect. It's important not to be super impulsive, to sleep on it, to just give yourself a little bit of time to find your center and then make a decision from that point. So the truth reveals itself gradually, and patience is key. I know it's hard. There's no need to rush. Sometimes we maybe feel rushed because we know people are waiting on a decision. But human design tells us that the people around you will often grow more attracted to your energy the longer that they wait for your answer. And then, when you're trying to find that sense of calm, centered, groundedness, yin or restorative yoga or meditation, breath work, all of those kind of things, whatever it is for you that helps you feel centered, can be really, really helpful. Just having those tools to calm those emotional fluctuations and create that space that's really needed to make your decision. Then we have environmental or mental. Do we have anyone with that authority here? It's quite rare. So. I'm guessing that's a no?
No.
Okay. So this authority is sometimes referred to as having no authority, because people with this authority don't have the traditional inner compass to guide decision making like the others. But it doesn't mean that you have actually no authority. Instead, the truth for someone with this authority is revealed through the way that your environment responds to your energy. So you might be highly sensitive to the people, the places, the ideas around you, and perhaps you can become easily influenced by others. Because of this, it's important to not seek external opinions on your decisions. So instead, finding trusted people as a sounding board to help you hear your own thoughts and ruminations, and that will help you clarify what feels right for you. People with environmental and mental authority have a lot of mental energy, a lot of strong logical thinking, but then can also get stuck in overthinking, especially when it comes to decision making. So it's really vital to check in with yourself and ask, is this environment correct for me? How does it make me feel? Does it make me feel good? Moving away from the mental realm and into the body can really help you get a clearer answer. And when you're thinking about your environment, if you're thinking about committing to a new environment, like a new house or workplace, yoga studio, whatever it is, it's nice to visit first and observe how you feel there, and then allow the environment itself to guide your decision. Do we have any self-projectors? I think there were no projectors, so I don't think so. But maybe if you're watching the replay, you have a self-projected authority. So for a self-projected projector, the key to making decisions that are aligned with your authority is to speak things out loud. So this process helps you to sense whether something feels right or wrong by hearing it in your own voice. So as you speak, often you come to the conclusion on your own as your inner truth becomes clear. So using tools like voice notes, voice memos with a trusted friend, or even just on your phone to listen back to yourself can really help with this process, provides that uninterrupted space to talk things through. And often that can be hard when you're trying to talk to someone else. Often people like to interrupt and give their own advice. So having that space away from that is really helpful. The most important aspect is to ensure that you as a projector have the freedom to express yourselves fully, making sure the people you choose to talk to about this don't offer unsolicited advice or judgment unless you specifically ask for it. it's essential, to find those people who can offer that, who let you explore your own thoughts and your own feelings in a supportive environment. It's about liberating the mind from the pressure of decision making and trusting that your voice, the literal voice, will show what comes from within. And we have the ego. This is another rare authority, and it's expressed through the heart and relies entirely on waiting for invitations before making decisions. It's deeply connected to identity and direction. However, unlike other authorities, people with a projected ego can't always trust their own impulses to take action. So instead, they might need to wait for others to recognize their worth, to extend an invitation, which helps them feel aligned and powerful. So it's really crucial to surround yourself with people who recognize you, value you, as this recognition feels really helpful to know, if you feel empowered and ready to act. To stay aligned, individuals with a projected ego need to regularly check in with yourself, asking questions like, what do I want? What do I need? What's in it for me? What's my worth? It's okay to be kindly selfish, to take that time to focus on what really lights you up. And when they keep their heart center healthy, it means committing to what excites them and honoring the promises that they make, which fosters a sense of fulfillment. And balancing work with rest is also really essential, as well as allowing room for play and for relaxation. And when you're invited, then you have huge capacity to be a transformative force, and honoring your need for recognition and alignment will really help you to thrive. And then you've got lunar authority, which I'm sure you know is for reflectors. So those are the lunar authority, make their decisions from their 28-day lunar cycle. The decision making doesn't come from that internal fixed sense of authority. So it's a reliable and repeatable pattern, that 28-day cycle, and that aligns with the moon's transit through the 64 gates of the mandala. So we have the gates are those little numbers that you'll see within the centers of your chart. And that provides a natural rhythm, which then offers you guidance. So before making significant decisions, reflectors really need to allow themselves that full cycle of 28 days to reflect, to contemplate, to discuss the issue with trusted friends and family. Only after that time of careful consideration will the clarity emerge. Often it's in a surprising way. So remember that the theme or feeling of a reflector is surprise. That surprised feeling is the key that you're on the right path. And this authority really teaches the importance of slowing down and resisting the pressure of external timelines or expectations. And that's something that all of us can take away from a reflector. They're there to show us that, we don't always have to, even though it's hard not to, to focus on and give into that pressure from other people. We're all on our own journey. We're all on our own timeline. We are all enough just as we are. And then you have the splenic authority. Again, that's another very rare authority, and it's quite mystical. So it's a deeply intuitive authority and operates through instantaneous knowing, often subtle, psychic insights about whether something or someone is healthy for them. I forgot to ask as well, is anyone a splenic authority here?
No, I don't think we've got anyone.
Oh, good. So the spleen communicates in a way that might feel like spidey senses, like a highly evolved multi-sensory radar that provides you with warnings or guidance about your immediate well-being. It's very much in the moment, on the spot. Are you safe? Is this a yes? Is this a no? And these, intuitive feelings are often fleeting, kind of like a whisper that fades away just as quickly as it appears. The spleen doesn't really repeat itself. So it's essential to, as much as you can, try and tune into those moment-to-moment sensations without overthinking or second-guessing them. So it can take a bit of practice to really trust your intuition, trust that spidey sense. Like anything, it gets easier with practice. Hopefully we can shut off the mind a bit and really tune into the body for that. The decisions from the spleen are immediate and based on the present moment. So what feels right for you now might not be the same as in the future. So there's no need to dwell on decisions or wait to act. It's like, what is the answer right now? The spleen's voice is very subtle, requires a deep listening and presence. It's really important to try and block out that external noise, whether it's from others or from your own mind, and to really focus on what your body is telling you. So taking moments each day to turn inwards, listen, and that will strengthen the connection to this authority over time. Finding those tools that help you to, really tune in to what your body's trying to tell you. So strategy, authority, aura type. They're the three main pillars of the human design. They're the best things to get started with your chart. There's many, many other complexities in a human design chart, but these things are the best things to start with. And then they're also the things that continue to be the most important as you move through your human design journey. So even if you get a reading from a human design reader, they will constantly talk about this, even though they might mention other things like the different centers or the gates or the channels. It will all come back to aura, strategy, and authority. Basically human design just teaches you to move out of the mind into the body and gives you like a little map on how you might best move through your life with the least amount of resistance. Obviously it's life, we're human, there's always going to be some resistance, but just having this information might help guide you and make things a little easier at times. But it's also a big learning curve. And as the founder, Ra Uru Hu, said, most important to recognize is that this is knowledge to be experimented with. So we call it a human design experiment. There is a way, but it can only be your way. Allow this work to guide and inform you. And then, if it's correct for you, enter into the most extraordinary journey of your life. So I feel like that quote sums it up quite well. You're presented with this knowledge, you have freedom of choice, you can decide whether it's right or wrong for you, you can decide whether this resonates with you. Maybe something doesn't resonate with you now, but you revisit it later and it makes more sense. Maybe you try out different ways of identifying your aura type, strategy, authority. Maybe you play around if you're a generator or a manifesting generator with how you respond, what that looks like. You have a look in your life and see like, what is the universe offering me today? Let this inform you if it's correct for you, but just let go of the things that aren't correct. So does anyone have any questions about authority, about human design in general?
I know we can't go into the details of, everything that's on the chart, but just at high level, like, there's lots of different numbers on it. Like, are they all related to very unique aspect of who we are, or what's the kind of high level, where we can look at that?
So the numbers, they all relate, they're called gates, and they all relate to very specific things about your blueprint, about your personality, about your energy. yeah, they're incredibly specific. And then you'll see like lines on your chart that connect two numbers. That's called a channel. And that also has its own specific energy and information that it can tell us about ourselves. When you're looking at two people's charts, so maybe you and your child, or you and your partner, you and your friend, these gates and channels, they interact with each other and create some powerful energy. So that's another way they can be used. Then there's also an aspect of astrology that relates to things. So basically, in a human design reading, a human design reader would give you your initial reading. You potentially wouldn't go into those gates because it's a lot of information, and a lot of this is very different, and we kind of need time to integrate it into our body, to practice, play around with the aura, strategy, authority. And then when things feel right, then maybe we can dive in and explore the extra layers of the chart. They're definitely important, but I would say they're not as important as strategy, authority, or a type. The more important things to focus on would be like the centers, and the energy of those, which you could get in a human design reading.
Thank you. Is there any other question from anyone? Or I guess I'd be curious as well if any of the things that were shared, like did it resonate in terms of like, you know, I know personally like some of the things resonated, others I was a bit more surprised, but I'd be curious.
Yeah, I'd love to know as well.
For me, I think it definitely resonated, and I'd be really interested to know how many manifesting generators are practitioners, because we're both the same, Gabi. And I just find that really interesting. So yeah.
Yeah, totally. And often you might find yourself kind of attracted to people who are the same type as you, because that energy feels familiar. Yeah, it's always interesting to find out who in your life is what type, and to see how your energy sort of plays together.
Yeah, I'm immediately sending it to all my friends. Need to know what they are.
Yeah.
Question, do the planetary influences on the gates correlate with what we know in astrology for those planets?
Yes, pretty much. Yeah.
So I've got the same number a couple of times, so there'd be the same gate, is it on different planets, or the other way around, different planets affecting the same gate?
Different planets affecting the same gate. Yeah.
And the design column and the personality column, what's the difference?
That has to do with like conscious or subconscious elements of your design and personality. Yeah, again, that's something you'd dive into in a reading.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have another question. Can any aura match with any strategy, or are there strategies that can and can't match with particular auras, for example?
Yeah, so the strategies that I mentioned, so to respond, that strategy can only be the strategy of a generator and a manifesting generator. To inform can only be the strategy of a manifester. Wait for the invitation can only be the strategy of a projector, and the lunar cycle can only be the strategy of a reflector. If that makes sense. Whereas the authorities are a bit more interchangeable and can kind of be applicable to a few different types.
So could a manifesting generator be an environmental strategy, or?
So the environmental is an authority, not a strategy.
Okay, I think that's what she's saying. Sorry.
Okay.
she meant authority.
Yeah. No, manifesting generators can't have an environmental. They can only have a sacral or an emotional. It's the projectors and manifestors that have a little more freedom and flexibility to have different authorities.
All right, thank you.
I wanted to ask, what are profile and definition?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, they're also one of the key things that a human design reader might talk about in an initial reading. Again, it just has to do with different energies, personality traits in your chart. Yeah, which is the different numbers mean different things. The different definitions mean different things.
I guess we would need hours to kind of go through everything. I think we're kind of close to time, so unless there's any other question, we might just wrap up. Gabi has very nicely kind of offered to give everyone who joined the masterclass, if you're ever interested, of course, that's totally optional, but if you wanted to kind of dive deeper into your personal design, she's offering 20% of a session. So I've just created a code here that you can see. I'll share again in the chat as well, just a profile if you want to have a look, and I can send it to you as well, all in an email. And what do we have next, Gabi? Oh, yeah, did you want to share about your article?
Yeah, so I wrote a really in-depth article for Bodhi. So if you didn't take notes, or if you're afraid you've missed something, you just want to revisit, feel free to click on this link, and that'll take you to the article and give you a lot of the information that you might be looking for on what we spoke about today.
Do you mind maybe putting it on in the chat as well, Gabi, or do you want me to do that?
Yes, I can do it after I stop sharing my screen, or if you want to do it, whatever.
Okay, I'll do it, don't worry.
Thank you.
All right, so I think that's it. If you go to just the next slide, would love, it takes 2 minutes, if you can give us a bit of feedback. What did you think? What could be improved? It's always super helpful to know, so that we know what to organize as well in the future. But also, otherwise, thank you so much for joining. Hope that was useful. I know we didn't go into all of the details, but it's like there's so much that, yeah, it would have been a very long session, and I think we all would be sleeping by the end of it. But thank you so much again, Gabi, for sharing your knowledge. It's really interesting and quite fascinating.